I had a wife who was a healer, a woman of the mountains. She had a cool, serene temperament and a compassionate heart. When she smiled at me, her eyes were like a tranquil lake with the magnetic pull of a whirlpool. One day, a group of men in sharp suits stormed into our home. They parted to let a stunningly beautiful woman through. She claimed to be my fiancée. Her brow was furrowed in anger. "Julian, your parents are going out of their minds looking for you. What are you doing here? Your name isn't Ash," they kept telling me during my first 3 days back at the Pierce family estate. "It's Julian Pierce." The woman who called herself my fiancée was Isabella Vance. I didn't believe them. They showed me old photographs, video blogs. My parents, their eyes red-rimmed, pointed at the screen. "See? You're Julian Pierce. This is the dashcam footage from the day of your accident. A torrential downpour, a car malfunctioning, then plunging into a lake. When they recovered your car, you weren't in it. We thought." I watched the man in the video, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his features sharp and cold. Every move he made, no matter where he went, exuded an air of aristocratic grace. He was nothing like the man I was now. But it was another man in the video who caught my attention. His name was Leo. Dressed in a simple white shirt, he radiated a youthful, sunny energy. He was Isabella's younger brother. Flashes of memory sparked in my mind. The man they called Julian Pierce was arguing with him. Leo, his face pale, stood defiantly before Julian and lowered his voice. "Mr. Pierce, Isabella and I are just brother and sister. She loves you. Isn't that enough? What more do you want from me? Do you have to drive me away? I love her. I just love her. What's wrong with that?" Faced with such a provocation, Julian grabbed him by the collar. But before he could say anything, a sharp female voice cut in. "What are you two doing?" Isabella shoved Julian away, her voice laced with annoyance. "He's my brother. Why are you picking on a kid? You're so petty. Can't you dial back the possessiveness for 1 second?" Julian sneered. "The kid your family adopted? He's 20. Is that still a kid? Regardless, he's my brother." Isabella pulled Leo's arm protectively. Hidden from her view, Leo shot a triumphant, defiant look at Julian over her shoulder. "Isabella, our wedding is off." Julian pulled a ring from his pocket and tossed it into a nearby trash can. "Fine by me. My mother, Mrs. Pierce, looked at my bewildered face now. My mind was a complete blank. Clara went out to see a patient. She'll worry if she comes home, and I'm not there. I have to go back. Julian, please don't scare me. Your fiancé is Isabi." A creak of the door interrupted her. Someone pushed it open. "Isabella, please talk some sense into Julian. He's—" Her voice broke with a sob. Isabella comforted Mrs. Pierce and ushered her out of the room. My mother gave me a worried, hesitant look as she left. Isabella possessed an aggressive, almost predatory beauty. Standing there in the room, a simple arch of her dark eyebrow was enough to convey a world of charm. She was nothing like my wife. When my Clara smiled, her eyes would curve into gentle crescents, and looking at her filled my heart with a quiet warmth. Thinking of Clara, my mind drifted. "Julian," Isabella's voice pulled me back. "Now that you're home, just focus on recovering. Your memory will come back eventually. And I've missed you so much." Her hand reached for mine, but I flinched away on instinct. "I have a wife," I said, my tone sharp. "Over the past 3 days, I've been filled in on Julian Pierce's soap opera life." Leo was adopted by the Vance family, and his relationship with Isabella was the subject of much speculation. Publicly, they were siblings. In private, Leo was excessively dependent on her, and she was incredibly indulgent of him. Over time, this had bred resentment in Julian, who demanded she draw a clear line with Leo. Isabella, proud and headstrong, accused Julian of having a dirty mind and not trusting her. When Leo learned of Julian's ultimatum, he offered to move out and live on his own. This made Isabella feel guilty, and she showered him with even more care and attention. The two were constantly seen together, making Julian, the fiancé, look like the bad guy trying to break up a happy family. After calling off the wedding, Julian had abruptly left. No one knew why he'd suddenly gone to some remote place. Now, hearing my words, Isabella's beautiful face fell. "Julian, don't play these sick jokes. This is your home. What wife are you talking about?" "This isn't my home." Annoyed, I strode toward the door, but she grabbed my arm from behind. Fearing one hand wasn't enough, she used both, her long nails digging into my skin. "Are you insane? We checked. That stone cabin in the middle of nowhere. You're the only one there. There was no woman, and certainly no so-called wife." "Julian Pierce, how long are you going to keep up this amnesia act?" "Amnesia act? Miss Vance, whether I'm really Julian Pierce or not, you have no right to speak to me in that tone." For 3 days, you've been parading around in front of me, ignoring my wishes and dragging me here against my will. What gives you the right to restrict my freedom?" Her eyes turned red as she shouted, her voice cracking. "Because I am your fiancé." "Julian, stop this nonsense." I gave a contemptuous laugh. "Let's put aside the fact that I already have a wife. Even if I didn't, the man named Julian Pierce already called off your wedding." Isabella seethed. "So, you deliberately invented a wife just to piss me off?" I chuckled softly. "Let's just say I've gone mad. Madly in love with her. Are you satisfied?" Isabella's pupils contracted, her grip loosening. I pulled my arm free and slammed the door on my way out. My parents forced me to go to the hospital for an evaluation. The doctor said I'd suffered a severe head trauma and was still in recovery, with total memory loss. The most serious diagnosis was that I had developed a delusional disorder. I had fantasized a wife who didn't exist in the real world. No woman would marry a seriously injured man with no identity. And no man would marry a mountain healer to be his wife. They thought I was having a psychotic break. But I remembered her face so clearly. I remembered her brewing herbal remedies for me, wiping my brow. I remembered her in a red dress as we bowed to the heavens and the earth. She had smiled and said, "This makes us family, right?" Family. I had found a family, and now she was all alone in that mountain cabin. If it weren't for her, I would have died in that river. After she rescued me, she took me to the county clinic for treatment, running up a debt to do it. After I was discharged, she went up the mountain to dig for herbs, and she prepared chicken and duck broth for me. Once I tried to help in the kitchen. She put her palms together in a prayer. Taking a life is a last resort, but saving a life is the highest calling. I will pray for your souls after you're gone. The moment she finished speaking, she expertly twisted the duck's neck with a swift, clean motion. Plucking, cleaning, gutting, starting the fire, stewing the soup. All the while, our big yellow dog, Buster, was drooling and barking at her feet. The warmth of a home. She had been so vividly real. Yet my family said I was delusional. They were wrong. I had to find her. I remembered the traces of my treatment at the county clinic and planned my escape. In the middle of the night, just as I slipped out of the house, blinding headlights flooded my vision. Isabella appeared, sighing. "Where are you trying to go? I'll take you. On one condition. You stop hiding your medication and take it like you're supposed to." I wasn't sick. Why should I take medicine? But to get to the county, I swallowed the pills. When we got to the clinic, I asked to see my medical records. I gave them my name, but they told me they had never admitted a patient named Ash. As for the healer I described, they all just shook their heads, saying they didn't know who I was talking about. I went back to the stone cabin. It was exactly as I had left it. Just as Isabella had said, there was no one here, certainly no woman. How could there be a wife? A dull ache started in my head. "Julian, do you really have amnesia? Do you truly not remember this place? I've been here before. I know you were angry that Leo and I went on a road trip without you," Isabella said. "We came here hiking, took a lot of pictures, and now you're telling me you have a wife who lives in this godforsaken place? Who could possibly live here? Julian, even if you want to get back at me, you shouldn't have to stoop to such a pathetic lie." Her questions grew louder and louder, like a mallet striking a bronze bell, the ringing echoing in my skull. A tsunami crashed through my mind, waves of memory slamming against the shore. My head was splitting apart. I held my breath, my chest heaving, and stumbled against the stone wall for support. Isabella looked at me with a complex expression, her lips moving, but I couldn't hear a word. Her face blurred, alternating with Clara's. Suddenly, the chaotic thoughts ceased. Isabella's voice became crystal clear. "Leo is just a kid. He's not mature yet. We can't be so extreme. Once I've guided him onto the right path, we can have our wedding." I looked down at her, a calm, detached smile on my face. "The ring is gone. The wedding was called off a long time ago." Isabella's lips curved into a smirk, mocking me for finally dropping the amnesia act. "All right, we should be heading BA." Before she could finish, her phone rang. Leo's voice echoed clearly through the mountain forest. "Bella, help me. You don't have amnesia anymore. Go back by yourself and cool off." "Oomph." Isabella turned and hurried away. Just then, my memory had returned. Isabella and I were childhood sweethearts. Our parents, worried we'd resist the idea of an arranged match, had us spend time together from a young age to cultivate a relationship. When we were little, she was always orbiting me, passionate and bold. She confessed her feelings openly, never knowing the meaning of subtlety. Sometimes she got on my nerves. "Can you be a little less obvious?" She would laugh. "I want the whole world to know you're mine, so all the other vixens will stay away." Childish. It's called simple, direct affection. "Do you like me?" Her emotions were so fiery. Sometimes I envied her. Where did she get the energy to say, I like you every single day? Why won't you answer me? If I said I did, would you even believe me? I'd scoffed. Haven't you heard that a man's words are devil's lies? I wouldn't believe anyone else. But you're different, Julian. She'd smile seductively, propping her chin on her hand and staring at me. So I'm not a man. You're a man of your word. Someone who does what he says. If only you were a little gentler with me. She pulled a ring out of her pocket. When I turn 20, let's get married. I can't wait to marry you. A 16-year-old girl, tirelessly reminding me that she was my future wife. I got used to it. Barring any surprises, we were going to get married. Unfortunately, the final surprise was discovering the undercurrent of emotion flowing between her and Leo. Then again, you can know a person's face, but you can never know their heart. How many promises made in youth are ever truly kept? My family mistakenly thought I left on a sudden business trip because of Isabella and Leo. In reality, I had received a letter from Master Eli and needed to pay him a visit. Master Eli had once saved my grandfather's life, and my grandfather had promised him one favor in return. With my grandfather gone, it was my duty to fulfill that promise. I hadn't expected the weather to be so bad that day. My tires skidded on the wet road, and the car crashed through the guardrail. When I next opened my eyes, I was looking into a pair of clear, bright eyes. My name is Clara Meadows, she told me. She was wearing a simple, long dress, like something from another time. After saving me, she found someone with a van to take me to the hospital. How she managed it, I'll never know. Taking care of me, amnesiac, seriously injured, and barely mobile, was incredibly difficult, but she never once complained. If you can't remember anything, why don't you stay here with me? And become a hermit? No way. She patted our dog Buster's head and smiled. You can leave whenever you want after you've healed. Then let's get married. Martha said you're a secular practitioner. You can get married. After we're married, we'll be family. She shot to her feet, her cheeks flushing crimson. Is that allowed? Buster barked and ran circles around her. She laughed. After we get married, we'll be family, and we'll live a good life together. At that time, I was still badly injured and couldn't do anything except help her dry herbs in the sun. Even now, the faint scent of herbs lingered in the cabin. I belatedly realized that Clara used an old candy bar phone. She lived a lonely life, isolated from the rest of the world. Who was she, really? Those memories felt like a lifetime ago. After Isabella left, I finally remember Master Eli. I followed the GPS directions deeper into the mountains, heading for Viridian Peak, where Master Eli had built his sanctuary. The long flight of stone steps left me breathless. As the last rays of sunset faded, I gently pushed open the gate and found myself face to face with a young woman holding a broom. Wife. The words slipped out reflexively. It was Clara. Woof, woof, woof. Buster was there, too. Seeing her, I squeezed my eyes shut, then opened them again. I confirmed that the person before me was not a hallucination, not a delusion. My heart surged like a tidal wave. Ash, you're finally back. You disappeared so suddenly, Clara was scared to death. I told her you'd come back for her. What are you two just standing there for? Martha waved us over with a smile. I just finished making a simple dinner. Come eat. I even managed to catch a fish. You look like you've recovered well. Can you eat meat at a sanctuary? It's monks who can't eat meat. Practitioners like us aren't so strict. Our way is about following nature, not getting caught up in appearances. Throughout the meal, Clara was silent. She didn't ask where I had been. It was as if I'd never left. After dinner, I stood up out of habit to wash the dishes. When I reached for her bowl, my hand brushed against hers. She looked up, her bright eyes meeting mine, her cheeks flushing. I can do it. My heart skipped a beat. No need. I gripped the bowl tightly to stop myself from reaching out and pinching her fair cheek. After washing the dishes, I leaned against the doorframe and watched her sit in the courtyard. Just as I was about to walk over to her, my phone vibrated in my pocket, shattering the night silence. She looked over. We stared at each other without a word. Martha was the one who broke the silence. Ash, let's talk. She led me to a side courtyard. You found your family, haven't you? My vibrating phone had given everything away. My silence was my confirmation. What's your real name? Julian Pierce. The Pierces of Ridgeline City. Her forehead, etched with wrinkles, furrowed like a small mountain range. You've regained your memory. It was a statement, not a question. She looked shocked. What are you and Clara going to do? I'll take responsibility for her. I heard you have a fiancé. We broke it off. We split up a year ago, I said. I'm taking her with me this time. That's not my decision to make. Before old Eli passed away, he sent a letter to your family asking for a favor, to help her with her education. Clara was an orphan, found by Master Eli as a baby and raised on the kindness of the small mountain community. She had never received a complete, formal education. All her learning was in traditional arts and philosophy. That was why she seemed so different from other girls. What education? Matzesite. Help her get a degree. To inherit the sanctuary, she needs a college diploma, and now you too have. Sigh. Is this a blessing or a curse? The next morning, Clara woke up and began a routine of meditative movements that resembled Tai Chi. The sound of the wind rustling through the leaves in the forest accompanied her fluid gestures. It was like watching a living ink wash painting, a truly beautiful sight. Even the fine beads of sweat on her forehead seemed to sparkle. When she finished, she turned and saw me holding a handkerchief and looked at me quizzically. "Wife, are you tired?" She blushed and averted her gaze. "What are we doing today?" Seeing that she wouldn't take it, I stepped forward to wipe the sweat from her brow. She snatched the handkerchief from my hand, flustered, and mumbled, "I need to sell the herbs from down the mountain." "We'll go together." "Why?" she asked, surprised. "We're married. We don't have a marriage license. It doesn't count. By your customs, we bowed to the heavens and held a ceremony. All that's missing is the official piece of paper." She looked up at me, biting her lip. You were with me through a difficult time. You don't have to take it seriously." Master Eli's passing had thrown her life into disarray. My arrival had kept her busy, preventing her from being overwhelmed by grief. She shouldered a bamboo basket to head down the mountain. I offered to carry it for her. She stopped me. "Your injuries haven't fully healed." She carried it effortlessly, her steps light. She didn't seem to be moving fast, but I was already winded just trying to keep up. Noticing my struggle, she slowed her pace. The herbs were for an herbalist in the county town. The quality was good, and the price was fair. The sanctuary had few visitors, so she and her master had relied on selling herbs to make a living. We had lunch at a restaurant in town, where she was clearly a regular. "Clara, this must be your boyfriend." Martha wasn't lying, the owner teased. Clara blushed. "He's a friend." I smiled. "You've got a good eye, ma'am." She seemed uncomfortable with the man I was now. Throughout the meal, her mind was elsewhere. She even seemed startled when I put food on her plate. After we finished eating, she said seriously, "Mr. Pierce, you are not Ash. I'm your husband. I feel like you're taking advantage of me." So the Ash with amnesia wasn't me. I replied, "We're family, aren't we? You have a family. You're not alone. You don't need me anymore." I grabbed her hand. She tried to pull away, but I held on tighter. Her palm was calloused, the hand of someone who often used a sickle. "You're also my family. More than that, you're my wife. Your master entrusted you to me. That's why I came looking for you." She stared at me in astonishment. "How is that possible?" she blurted out. With a little embellishment, the story became one of destiny. I had received Master Eli's letter and rushed to this remote place, only to get into an accident. And by sheer coincidence, it was Master Eli's own student who saved me when I had lost my memory. "Do you believe in fate?" I asked her. "Before I met you, I didn't. Now I do. I believe in the way, but I don't believe in resigning myself to fate. Perhaps I was destined to face that ordeal so that I could meet you, the one person who could save me," I said. "You also have to go to Ridgeline City to study and get your degree. I can help you with that." At the mention of studying, her brow furrowed, and she sighed. "Why do you need a college degree to inherit a sanctuary? A degree from a top university, no less." After finishing elementary school, she had stopped her formal education to study traditional medicine and philosophy with her master. She was far more proficient in ancient texts than in math or science. An idea began to form in my mind. I would enroll her in a STEM-focused track. The weaker her foundation, the longer she would have to stay in Ridgeline City, and the more opportunities one would have to win her over. When I brought her back to the city, I hesitated. If I hadn't regained my memory, I wouldn't have dared take her to meet my parents. But I was doing nothing wrong, so why should I hide? I had initially worried that Clara would feel awkward and out of place in the city, but my fears were unfounded. She was perfectly composed, carrying herself with a natural shield of serenity that allowed her to speak to others with ease. She wasn't the country bumpkin I had half expected her to be. We walked into the house, and a familiar voice drifted from inside. "Mr. and Mrs. Pierce, don't worry. Julian hasn't lost his memory. He'll be back soon." "He hasn't," my mother said. "Then where has he been for over a year? Canceling the wedding and not even coming home?" "It was all a misunderstanding. Julian and I cleared the air last time. We should start preparing for the wedding again." Just as she finished speaking, our butler announced, "Sir, madam, the young master is home." Every head in the living room swiveled in our direction. "Miss Vance, please don't make jokes like that. I'm a married man. I wouldn't want my wife to get the wrong idea. She's not easy to console." Standing beside me, Clara's bright eyes dimmed slightly when she heard Isabella's words. But when she heard mine and felt my hand tighten around hers, a bit of color returned to her face. Isabella shot to her feet, her eyes narrowing as she stared at our joined hands. My parents rushed over, emotional. "You're finally back. We couldn't reach you yesterday. We were so afraid you'd had another accident." Once they were sure I was okay, their attention shifted to Clara. "And who is this young lady?" I smiled. "This is Clara Meadows. I mentioned her before. She's my wife. She's the one who saved me. Honey, say hello to Mom and Dad." She almost followed my lead and called them Mom and Dad, but caught herself. "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Pierce." Too bad, I almost had her. I playfully nudged the back of her hand with my finger. "Impossible." Isabella's face darkened. "Julian Pierce, if you want to fight with me, you don't have to stoop to finding some country girl to provoke me." "I'm not that bored," I said calmly. "Honey, this is my ex-fiancé. Don't worry, we broke things off cleanly a year ago." "Julian Pierce." Isabella started towards me, her voice trembling. I ignored her and turned to my parents. "It's been a long day. I'm going to take her upstairs to rest." Isabella tried to block my way. The butler, ever perceptive, stepped in with a smile. "Master Julian, Miss Clara, what would you like for a snack?" "I'll go prepare something." Clara offered a slightly shy smile, but her voice was clear. "Thank you." Once we were in the room, Clara said, "Once you've sorted out the school situation for me, I'll rent a place nearby to study for the exams." "Master Eli wanted you to focus on STEM subjects. You know that, right?" "Why?" "You know the old saying, a STEM degree opens any door you want." Clara stared at me. "I think you're lying to me. Master Eli appointed me as your guide to the secular world. You took care of me for a year. Now it's my turn to help you. And actually, your husband is a pretty good student." Before she could refuse, I had already arranged for someone to gather the necessary textbooks. Not the modern ones, which are notoriously difficult for self-study, but classic editions from the 90s, written by masters in their fields. When Clara saw the towering stacks of books, she was aghast. "Do you have to study this many subjects to get into college?" "You do. If you study hard this year, you can take the SATs next year. It'll be tough, but it'll be good to experience the process." Looking at the subjects, math, physics, chemistry, English, biology, I figured English would be the least difficult for her, though even then, she was used to a more formal, almost archaic style. If I hadn't met her after losing my memory, I might have thought she was a time traveler from some ancient dynasty, with her classic, old-world elegance. "Do I need to attend school?" She looked at the high school admission form, stunned by my efficiency. "If you don't want to go to school, I can hire private tutors," I said. "But Master Eli hoped you would go to school to interact with more people and integrate into modern society." At the mention of Master Eli, her eyes flickered with emotion, and she couldn't help but sigh. "Seems like a lot of trouble." She nodded, then fell silent for a moment. "I'll go to school." As she opened a textbook, her brow furrowed even deeper. At dinner, her low spirits were obvious. I took her for a walk around the neighborhood to talk about the school and help her prepare mentally. "Do you want to live in a dorm or off campus?" For a high school student, she was older than her peers and had a lot to learn. She would need a quiet environment to study. "Off campus," Clara said. "I'd like to rent an apartment near the school." "All right, leave it to me. I'll pay my own rent." "No need. You took care of me for so long. It's my turn now. Your husband is quite capable, you know." Clara shot me an annoyed glare. "Can you stop taking advantage of me like that? Am I wrong? Is there a problem with what I said?" Clara was speechless. My biggest worry was the psychological toll school would take on her. Physically, in her early 20s, she didn't look much different from the 17 and 18-year-old girls. But I was more concerned about the blow to her spirit. I could foresee the immense challenge she would face starting high school with virtually no foundation. From what I knew of her, she was humble on the surface, but proud underneath. The next day, I personally drove her to the school and spoke with the principal. To create a good learning environment, I had her placed in the honors track. The homeroom teacher, curious about her academic level, gave her a copy of the last practice exam. Aside from the English section, she left most of the papers blank. Before heading to school, she had a look of anticipation on her face. When she came out, she was clutching the exam papers, her eyes downcast. Math, physics, chemistry, biology. There are barely any words, just symbols. It's all so abstract. She was completely demoralized. "That's science," I said. "Science is abstract by nature. Language is abstract too. You just have a good foundation in it, so your logic flows, and it doesn't seem difficult. By the way, you should probably start writing in a more modern style." She nodded. "It seems there's a lot to learn. No wonder Master told me I had to go to school. If I don't keep up with society, the sanctuary will be left behind. I had already arranged for an off-campus apartment for her, a 3-bedroom near the old campus, fully furnished with all the necessities. She was taken aback. You're living here, too? Yep. I'm your husband and part-time guardian. She took a deep breath, folded the exam papers neatly, and managed to smile. You don't have to feel obligated because of what happened in the mountains. You've done more than enough to help me. From now on, I need to focus on studying. Clara, I said, taking her hand. We're husband and wife. We're family, right? Her lips parted slightly. My phone rang. It was Isabella. She pulled her hand away. You should get that. I can handle things here. She gathered a pile of books and carried them into the bedroom. I'm going out to buy us some dinner. I declined the call. Okay, she said, then paused. She pulled a small, embroidered pouch from her faded canvas bag. It was full of cash. How much will it cost? I was genuinely surprised she was using a drawstring pouch as a wallet. People don't really use cash anymore. They use this. I waved my phone. I needed to get her a smartphone and a laptop. But I also worried she'd get addicted to TikTok or spend too much time online, neglecting her studies. I was finally experiencing the trials of raising a daughter. I went out to get food. The area around the school was full of restaurants. Seeing the vibrant, energetic students and thinking of my healer wife tackling high school to get into college, a smile spread across my face. Why didn't you answer my call? Isabella was standing there, her expression grim. What are you doing? None of your business. You're dating a high school student? Are you insane? You're having me followed? My face went cold. She's the same age as your brother. Compared to your twisted relationship, a real marriage like ours is perfectly normal. The restaurant had my takeout order ready. I was about to pay with my phone when Isabella snatched the bag from my hand and threw it on the ground. Julian Pierce, what does that illiterate nun have that I don't? You actually fell for a recluse. You really know how to humiliate me, to disgust me. Her beautiful face was twisted with rage. She's not a nun, she's a healer. And my feelings for her have nothing to do with you. Don't flatter yourself. I waved my hand, dismissively annoyed. Worried Clara was hungry. I ordered 2 portions of stir-fried noodles and 2 hearty soups to go. When I got back to the apartment, I found her sitting at her desk, engrossed in a middle school math textbook, studying intently. She was so focused she didn't even notice I was back, as if she were in her own little world. Under the warm yellow lamplight, watching her, my own agitated heart naturally grew calm. It wasn't until she stretched her back that she noticed me and jumped. You're back. Why didn't you say anything? I didn't want to disturb your studying. How's it going? Making any sense? I gestured for her to come eat. I think I get it, she said, but I can't tell if I really understand it or just think I do. Wife, if you call me husband, I'll tell you how to know the difference. I gazed at the classic beauty before me, who looked as if she had stepped out of a painting. The more I looked at her, the more beautiful she became, a captivating mix of purity and restrained allure. There you go again, taking advantage of me. She glared, biting her lip. Ash. The moment she said it, she knew she had misspoken. But hearing her say that name sent a sweet warmth through my heart. Come here, I'll teach you. To avoid distracting her, we slept in separate rooms. Of course, my goal was to cultivate a healthy, conventional relationship with her. Being with her had made my own lifestyle much healthier, in every aspect from diet and routine to general well-being. To impress her, I occasionally found myself brushing up on high school subjects. As a man, there's a part of you that's paternal. Seeing the woman I liked look at me with admiration could make my whole day, but there were also problems. The biggest one was how to get her to sign a marriage certificate with me. The other was Isabella's incessant harassment. She's a recluse, Isabella would say. Once she gets into college, she'll go back to inherit that sanctuary. How could she ever marry you? She's a healer. Who says healers can't get married? Her philosophy is about following the natural way, not being bound by rigid rules. You would hurt me and abandon me for an illiterate healer? She'd cry, incredulous. We have nothing to do with each other anymore. There's no hurt or abandonment to speak of. I heard Leo has left the Vance family. I wish you both the best. Spending time with Clara had made me a more peaceful person. Coming home to a single light left on for me, and meeting her eager eyes, waiting for me to help her with a difficult problem. There was nothing better in the world. When she was tired from studying, we would walk along the river to clear our heads. Wife, I asked her one day, which do you like better, the city or the sanctuary? They're both good. Her knowing smile made my heart burn. It was as if Isabella couldn't understand plain English. She kept coming to bother me. Are you really going to marry that little healer? Do you know how many people are laughing at you? She's useless to your career. She looked aggrieved, just like the teenage girl who used to chase after me in high school. But that look no longer moved me. Things are good now. You and Leo can be together openly, and I have someone I love. We all have bright futures ahead of us. No, there were dark circles under Isabella's eyes, and her lips trembled. Julian, we were childhood sweethearts. We were engaged. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Isabella, I said, looking at her calmly. Regardless of what's going on with you and Leo, I'm married. Clara may seem gentle, but her jealousy can be quite formidable. She's a healer, an illiterate one at that. What's wrong with being a healer? Is there a shortage of well-educated villains in the world? She's more honest, kind, and clear-headed than most people. She doesn't need me. I need her. Isabella's face went pale. One day, she'll have to inherit that sanctuary. She'll leave you. Hearing this, I chuckled. I'll worry about the future when it gets here. We have 2 years of high school and 4 years of college together. She was shocked that I had it all planned out. I noticed a ring on her finger, the one I had thrown in the trash. Isabella, some things just don't fit, no matter how much you want them to. Like that ring. It's too loose. It looks like it could fall off your finger at any moment. Let the past go. The color drained from Isabella's face. She fidgeted with the ring on her finger. Her lips parted as if to say something, but no words came out. After 2 years of arduous study, though Clara wouldn't see it that way, sometimes finding it tedious, other times fascinating, the tedium was in the endless practice problems. The fascination was in watching her test scores steadily rise, climbing exponentially from the bottom of the class. After 2 years, when it was time for college applications, she achieved an unexpectedly high score on her SATs, enough to get into a top-tier university. The school called it a miracle. She wasn't too happy about that, feeling the word miracle dismissed her 2 years of hard work. You have to understand, effort alone can't always bridge the gap in talent, I explained. The reason you succeeded is because your effort plus your talent created that miracle. After my explanation, she accepted it more gracefully. Will your parents not like me? I took her hand. They're secondary. The most important thing is that I like you. It's time we went and got that license. Wife, you owe me some official status. She smiled. Don't men prefer it without the paperwork? What kind of person do you take me for? As a decent, upstanding man, I believe any romance that isn't heading for marriage is just playing around. We need to be officially certified. I have a sanctuary to inherit. Then I'll be the healer's husband. Doesn't your philosophy say something like, the name that can be named is not the eternal name? Don't get caught up in labels. As I spoke, I wrapped my arm around her waist. Our first wedding 2 years ago was too rushed. After you've met my parents properly, let's have another ceremony. She was refreshingly direct. Okay, she smiled. The day Clara received her acceptance letter to Ridgemont University, we went and got our marriage license. Then, we started preparing for the wedding. On the day of the ceremony, the celebration was lively and grand. I made a point of inviting the villagers from the mountain community. Martha cried like a baby. My best man, one of my closest friends, secretly handed me a box. Inside was an exquisite ceramic lamp. Isabella made it herself, he said. She wanted to congratulate you on your dream coming true. She's not coming. She went abroad to study. I closed the box. You should take this back. My friend understood, raising an eyebrow with a grin. I heard she and her adopted brother split. She was just confused. That's how she made that mistake. But it's all for the best now. I have to say, your little healer wife is absolutely stunning. Her voice is so ethereal and lovely. My mom is completely smitten with her, calls her a true medical prodigy. If it were me, I'd choose the healer too. By the way, are there any other girls at her sanctuary? I told him to get lost. We had tried the traditional style. This time, we opted for a Western wedding. Watching her walk towards me in a graceful, pure white wedding gown, I felt a warmth spread through my chest. I lifted her veil and met her eyes, which were as dewy and bright as the morning. End of main, text epilogue. Clara, Clara, my dear, your master can't be with you forever. You need to find your own path. Clara looked at her white-haired master. Though neither of them said it aloud, she knew his time was coming to an end. He couldn't stay with her forever. I will make arrangements, her master had said. But first, you must go into the world and experience it, not as an outsider. The mortal world is full of interesting people and things. You're too young to be so world-weary. She thought her master was worrying too much. To be human is to be destined for solitude. She had assumed that after he was gone, life would continue as usual, gathering herbs, growing vegetables, treating the sick. It wasn't hard to support herself. Her life was mapped out before her. Only then did she understand why he had taken her in. Meeting Julian Pierce was an accident. She had been gathering herbs in the mountains that day when she saw a man lying by the river, seriously injured. When he woke up, he couldn't remember who he was and had no identification. She filed a report with the police, but there was no news. His injuries made it difficult for him to climb the mountain to the sanctuary. So, as a compromise, he stayed in the stone cabin at the foot of the mountain. He had undergone surgery and needed a long period of convalescence. It was the first time she had cared for such a seriously ill patient. Watching him regain his strength day by day brought her immense joy. First, because it proved she could handle severe cases even without her master. Second, because his company made her feel less alone. Still, there was no word from the police station. "What will you do if you never find your past?" she asked him. "Then I'll live in the present," he said. "You won't abandon me, will you? You have hands and feet. You can support yourself. I'm a nobody right now, a cripple with no ID. I can't go anywhere." He grew inexplicably despondent. "I'm so weak. If I go home, my family might see me as a burden." She smiled. "It's okay. I'll heal you completely. If you really don't want to go back, you can stay. We can be family. And become a hermit? No way. There's plenty of time. You can think about it. Then let's get married. Martha said you're a secular practitioner, that your master doesn't restrict you. You can get married. After we're married, we'll be family and keep each other company." Marriage. The word had never entered her mind. His straightforward proposal left her bewildered. Her master had told her to live, to truly love something, not just be pushed along by him. Until now, she had never really thought about how she wanted to live. Did she love this man? She didn't know. Her master used to say that family was the smallest unit of a community. He also said that to blindly trust in books was to know nothing. One had to experience the world to truly live. She wanted to experience more. So, she agreed to marry him. He played along perfectly, fulfilling her fantasy of a classic, chivalrous romance. Martha had said, "Strange, the person who was supposed to take you to school, why hasn't he come yet?" At the time, she had hoped that person would be late, because she wanted this beautiful dream of Ash to last just a little longer. She never imagined that the guide to the secular world her master had arranged for her was him. Julian Pierce asked her if she believed in destiny. She thought he was a smooth talker, but his words had found a home deep in her heart. Epilogue. Isabella in a daze. She saw a white figure approaching slowly. Isabella's body went rigid. When she saw who it was, her heart filled with sorrow. "Bella." Leo took her hand. "You haven't eaten in days. Let me take you." Isabella snatched her hand back, her voice cold. "No, thanks. I have no appetite. And stop dressing like that. You look nothing like him. He's married. He'd rather have that healer than you." Smack! Isabella slapped him across the face. Seeing the fury in her eyes, Leo just smiled. "Why can't you let him go? What do I lack that he has? You knew he didn't love you, that you were just a habit to him. You used me to provoke him, and I played along. He was the one who gave you up. I'm the one who stayed by your side." Tears welled in Isabella's eyes. She trembled with rage. She had seen the video of Julian and the healer's wedding on her social media feed. He had never looked at her that way. That should have been her. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Epilogue. Isabella on the night of Julian's wedding, on the other side of the world, she drank heavily. In her alcoholic haze, she had a beautiful dream. In the dream, the bride wasn't the healer. It was her. She was wearing the wedding dress of her dreams, walking towards Julian amid the blessings of friends and family. As a child, she had planned exactly how she would marry him. He would smile and say, "My bride is so beautiful." And she would reply, "My groom is so handsome." Then, they would plan their honeymoon. International travel was a bit risky, so maybe they'd go to the scenic highlands of Vermont for the summer. They would take a road trip together, exploring the beauty of their own country. Along the way, they were so relaxed, until the car stopped at the foot of a mountain. Julian looked up at the peak. "Bella, what's on top of that mountain?" She looked up. A small sanctuary stood on the mountainside. At that moment, the dream shattered. She woke up. She opened her eyes slowly, staring blankly at the ceiling. The living room was too quiet, littered with empty bottles. The silence was suffocating. She turned on the TV, just for some noise. The entertainment news was scrolling a story about Julian Pierce's low-key wedding. The bride's identity was kept private. Unconsciously, tears streamed down her face. She wondered, if she hadn't used Leo to test Julian, would their story have ended differently? But the result would forever be Schrodinger's cat. Just as life has no what-ifs, it offers no second chances. End of book part 2. Mandatory separators.